So hi everybody and welcome back to Unreal Engine 5 tutorial series for beginners, just an overview. And in this video I will continue where I stopped last time with a topic which is interesting, important, how we import things. And I showed you can there download for free from the marketplace many assets, and then you can just add them to your game and they will show up here in the content browser. But there are some projects which you can't actually add to your project, and then you have to create a separate project, and that's a problem because then you have just to import from this project here to your project them manually. And I show you this one how we can do. So what you will have to do if you want, for example, let's say I'm in my project, you created a very nice, I don't know, let's say you created here this scene here what I made. It's not very nice, but let's say I want to import all this stuff to a new place. So what you can do is, for example, no, that's too big. Let's make a little bit smaller one. Let's say you want just import this asset here, this wall asset what we have here, which we can get normally from Megascans. That's why we don't export this either. Let's go for, let's say I go here to my props, static meshes, because let's say you created a static mesh or a blueprint similar to this one, just as a blueprint, and then you say, okay, hey, I created, let's say, this bush, and then you say I want to use this asset now. I want to export it and use it in a other project. Like so how to export this? One way is you click now on your bush. Let's go to another one. This word bush. Bush. Let's go for the chair. All right, let's go to the chair. So you click on your chair and you say, I want to export this chair now. Right click on it, and then you go to asset actions, and like the word it says, asset actions, we can do something with these assets. And here, very important is, careful, we have here two things. One is export, which means this asset will be exported on your local driver. This is one way, and then you can import it from your local driver. But most time we don't make this. What we are going to do, or not, let's say I did not this. Normally this is a very nice and solid way to export it on your local drive, and then you can share it and so on. It's even a better way. But what I do, for example, if I transfer this asset to another project, I click again the right mouse button, I go again to asset action, but instead of export this one, I go to migrate. And this migrate is really nice. When you click on migrate, then you can see the asset which you will migrate to the save. What does this say? Selected, whatever. That was it. Not sorry for that. It was just because I forget to save. So then it pops up this menu, asset report, and the following asset will be migrated to another content folder, and that's very important. This one I want export to another project, and the other project means you have to find all time the content folder. That's very important here too. And here is something strange, right? When you watch this one, here I selected only one asset, but anyhow it is exporting different kind of things. Why? The question is why? it's very easy to answer. This asset, what you can see here, contains not only about the static mesh. Right now, this asset has applied textures, these two textures, has applied, this is the early static mesh actually, and has applied material. So if you are only interested in this static mesh without this material, this yellow, green, and so, then you can, for example, just get rid of the materials and just keep the static mesh. Or you say, I'm interested in all, it looks cool, I want all this like it is. Then you select this one and then you press OK. And what you are going to do is then find your other project where you want exported, or it's called migrated. You are taking here and sending it there. In our case, I have no other Unreal Engine 4 projects. Here I have my project folders. They are all for Unreal Engine 4 and so on. Let's select, that's why again, our demonstration YouTube. This is my folder again. You would select, then double click on it. Careful, not select it, because what you have to do, let's say this is just another project in Unreal Engine 5, then you go to your project, but don't select this one here, because you have to go to this content folder. That's very important, because if you don't go in this content folder, for example, one of this other folder or in general folder, it can be complaining because it is not set up for migrating there. It is all time asking for a content folder, and then you select, double click on the content folder. The standard way in Unreal Engine 4 and before was that you just select this content folder, but I think they changed that, so which means you can also create here perhaps a folder and then import them directly to this new folder, but it must be in content. I'm not sure. What I'm doing is I just import it to the content, then I'm sure, and then I just move it to the folder which I want. But for a complex migration or many files, I would just test if it works for a special folder in content. So in my case, I don't click here because it's just the same thing, but this is the thing what you would do, and that's very fast. The next thing what I wanted to show you with importing things, there is another way, very, very nice and handy. I show you, I make this now a little bit smaller. I go on top there, or let's say I have here textures. I open up the textures, and I told you one time textures are just textures are just PNG images, right? More or less. Must be not PNG, but most time it's nice to be PNG. And then there is also the way you can just drag and drop from your local driver or from internet if it's supported with drag and drop and here in. So let me show you something. I click here a picture which I found on my local driver, which is not which is just a PNG file of a low poly character. Let me find it first. Here is it. Here, I take this one, and then I can now drag and drop. Now I have found this picture. Here I have it, and you can see there this strange plus folder sign on my cursor. I drag and drop it now here, and now after I dropped it, it is just integrated. So this is also one way. If it's supported, you have just to check. Sometimes you can, like I did here, you go to your folder, drag and drop it in with, I know it works with, I delete this one, I know it works with PNGs, I know it works with sound, and perhaps also with assets and all the other things too. The drag and drop system it's very nice, sometimes very fast. That's very good. And I think we can keep it. Wait, there is one more thing. We can see here the import button. This is when you have, for example, like before. Let me show you this one more time. Like we go here of static mesh. I have my chair. I clicked here. I was going to asset action. If you use export this one, then you can save now this file here. Let's save it here. SM chair test. And then I save this, and then here, careful, these are export settings. I don't talk about that. That you show later. It's not very difficult because most time you keep the defaults. Just sometimes you have just to select something, but most time you keep the defaults. You change this one here, perhaps. But first look what does this mean and so on the documentation. If you have no clue like me right now, I would go now to documentation, check this what I don't know, and then I click export. Now this file is exported, and now you can see here a change in the source content file has been detected. Would you like to import it? Don't import, because I want imported here. You can go now import here. I saved it now here, and then you can see here is something, this SM chair text, and then you just click import, and then you have here import settings. For the import settings, you check again. And most time you can keep the defaults, most time, not all time. And then you check this on, and then I just write import, and now this one is imported. And I crap this up. I should not import this. Now I did it because yeah, because it's here again, I think. But this is material of chair. Yeah, we don't need this. And let's see what's going on. And here's the chair which I imported. You can see I just deleted the material. Get rid of this one too. Let's see where is something else what I imported. Anyway, you get the idea. It's very simple, straightforward. And I think that's enough for this video. So export, import works easy, fine. Sometimes not so easy when you try to import from 3D softwares. There you have to check the setups. But here one more note, there are sometimes very nice plugins, which means when you have many things to import, to export, and so on, sometimes there are plugins out. For example, I heard about there is a Blender plugin. So when you are working regularly and you have much to do, then just install a plugin, and then this plugin will normally manage this procedure, setting up all, and then you just click probably to select the folders and then one button, and then it will be exported or imported, depends what you need. But as a beginner, we learned this hard by hand, but we don't export that much and we don't import that much. So that's enough for this video, and in the next video we will go on with exploring what we have here. Bye.